Okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sampath, and it's a pleasure to join you all from London. I'm Virendra Sharma, Member of Parliament for Ealing Southall. As such, I'm still familiar with the political situation in India. Indeed, many of my constituents prefer to discuss it to the goings on in Westminster. I grew up in Punjab, in village Mandali. My late father was a local Congress party leader, and I was lucky enough to meet many of the great figures of independence as a child. The creation of India as again a nation of singular political importance was one of the great undertakings of the 20th century. We here today, standing in the 21st century, are part of the Indian century. The next 100 years will be a period where Indian power and influence have the ability to shape the world. A nation united in defense of ideas of secularism, toleration, progressiveness, and democracy will define these years. And India cannot look inwards today. It cannot afford to end. It should not be want to. The United Nations, founded 2 years before modern India, is just one forum in which an outward-looking, progressive, and effectual country will engage. Dr. Sampath, I don't think it would cause much dispute around the world to say that India, more than any other nation in the world, deserves a permanent seat on the UN Security Council. It would be a meaningful step away from an imperial West to recognize the need to share that table on an equal footing with India. It would recognize India's status as a world power, nuclear weapon state, important economy, and country of nearly 1.4 billion people. Such power and position on the world stage is not without responsibilities. It is not just a player, but also a weight. When we turn to America, to China, to Russia, we see countries gripped by populism, by a return to the worst days of autocrats and rulers, unconstrained by bad press and democracy. India is a democracy, the largest in the world, a feat that comes with its own challenges. This is to be celebrated, cherished, and protected. And every Indian patriot should stand proudly for the democracy that it defines the country as a beacon of freedom. The democracy is also celebrated in freedom of the press and toleration. Toleration of religion, toleration of sexuality, toleration of diversity is a strength, not a weakness. Ladies and gentlemen, the Indian century will not be defined by conservatism, but by diversity and how different experiences and points of views makes us stronger, not weaker. For hundreds of years, Britain and India have been partners in one form or another. Frankly, for India, that was not a healthy relationship for a long time. But today, I like to think we stand together as allies and friends, people with a lot of shared history, much shared language, and a shared legal heritage and political basis. I'm delighted to chair the Indo-British All-Party Parliamentary Group in our parliament, to be a custodian of that relationship. As a British Indian, born in India, but made in Britain, I'm part of Prime Minister Modi's living bridge, and I could not be prouder of my dual heritage. Together, the countries make up the best of the world. Traditions and history, with skills and knowledge, technical know-how, and a second to none service sector. The power that exists in closure and deeper ties between both countries is boundless. I want to see that recognized. I want to see both countries make the most of that connection and invest in bringing us together. There are barriers and areas of less alignment, but I don't think these need prevent better working together. Britain needs to remember they are no longer an imperial power, but an equal, and India needs to commit to following the international rules-based order, commit to ending corporate espionage, and ensure standards of treatment of workers and products made. This is not an opportunity for Britain to take advantage of India, but a chance for a truly equal partnership. But this is not just an economic question. And a century on from one of the most barbaric acts of empire, the wounds still are cut deep. The Jallianwala Bagh massacre of 1919 was an act notable for its cold, calculated murder. Still today, it clouds the relationship between India and Britain. And I have long campaigned for an official apology from the British government. I know this alone does not undo the stain of empire and colonialism, but it says we recognize what was wrong. More important than that, though is the monument and record of imperialism and a note in Britain's collective memory. And so I have been proud to, for many years, lead the charge for a monument to empire and colonialism. A monument in London, the heart of imperial power, to the cruelty and savagery of empire. It should be an unflinching look at the pains and humiliation inflicted on millions around the globe, and it should educate millions of British school children every year about the role the British Empire played in subjugating a quarter of the world. The 21st century is an opportunity for India to embrace a new and wider role in the world, an opportunity for Britain to recognize its modern place and come to terms with the loss of empire. It is an opportunity for the world to embrace toleration and diversity, democracy and difference, and turn its back on rigid dogma, popularism, and conservatism. With vision and commitment, we can see years dominated by a powerhouse relationship between modern India and modern Britain. For the progressives around the world, we have an opportunity today to found a progressive century, a century founded on updated relationships and modern ideas. The Indian century. Dr. Sampath, it's a pleasure to join you today, remembering all these days when I was in Chennai and you were in London. And I look forward to close working relationship so that we can bring 21st century as a true century for India. Thank you very much for inviting me, and it's a pleasure to joining you. Thank you.